Good evening. It was a devastating fire that killed two members of a Richmond Hill family.
And tonight, two Toronto residents are facing a number of charges, including murder. CTV's Beth McDonnell is live in Richmond Hill tonight with the latest on these charges and this police investigation. Beth.
Michelle, back in September, police say 4 of the victims were found unconscious inside the home and 1 was found outside. All 5 members of the same family, an 11-year-old girl and her aunt, died from that fire. And tonight, police have arrested 2 people in connection with the case, but it remains an active investigation. 2 months since the deadly fire, the signs of the tragedy remain. Stuffed toys wrapped around a tree, the burnt house still boarded up. While the investigation into who killed 11-year-old Rosa and her 24-year-old aunt, Helia Bahari Kashani, along with leaving 3 others in the family with life-threatening injuries, is far from over.
This was a heinous crime.
York Regional Police have arrested a woman and man from Toronto, 42-year-old Camille Hall and 30-year-old Smart Obanor. Both are facing more than a handful of charges, including 2 counts of first-degree murder, 3 counts of attempted murder, and arson. Police were asked if they believe the accused were hired or conspired in this case.
At this point, there's no information to suggest that there is a relationship between the 2 people that you see charged and the victims. At this point, we don't have any evidence to suggest that that is the case. We have seen reporting to that extent, but at this point, as we said, it is an active and ongoing investigation.
The fire erupted on September 1st around 3 in the morning at a home on Skywood Drive in Richmond Hill near Yonge Street and Tower Hill Road. Shortly after, a gas can was found nearby. 11-year-old Rosa died the next day, and in the days after that, her aunt died from injuries in the fire. Rosa's mother and 2 older members of the family survived.
The 3 other victims have since been released from hospital and are recovering.
CTV News inquired with police if other family members have been interviewed. Police say they can't disclose that information because it's an active investigation.
And the homicide unit is committed to following any leads and have an open mind to all leads that could possibly link further the motive behind these 2 individuals being connected to this homicide.
Officers hope by releasing these photos of the accused, more will come to light. Police are asking anyone with information to contact them or to call Crime Stoppers. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Beth. In Peel Region, police are confirming the body of a woman killed in a crash in Brampton over the weekend was not found until her family reported her missing. 2 vehicles collided early Saturday morning at Chinguacousy Road in Queen Street. One of the drivers, a 31-year-old man, died at the scene. The cars were moved to a police impound lot, and hours later, police got a call about a missing 20-year-old woman. A tracking app showed her last location was at the crash site, and police later found the woman's remains in the back seat of the demolished Honda Civic.
All emergency personnel at all levels of emergency services responded to this crash: fire, police, and ambulance. And of course, a debrief with them is going to be important to understand what exactly transpired, what the sequence of events were, and how this led to be.
The driver of the other vehicle in the crash was a minor charged with dangerous driving causing death.
Meanwhile, Toronto police are sharing new details about a deadly crash in Scarborough. This happened yesterday evening in an industrial area near Markham and Finch. Police say a 47-year-old man was driving a gray pickup truck northbound when he lost control and crashed. A 34-year-old woman riding with him was pronounced dead at the scene, while the driver had non-life-threatening injuries. Police are trying to figure out the circumstances of the crash, and they're asking anyone with security or dash camera footage from the area or incident to get in touch.
And a woman was rushed to hospital in Midtown after a crash late this morning. Emergency crews responded to Eglinton and Old Forest Hill Road around 11:30. Amid reports, a pedestrian was struck by a vehicle. Police say the vehicle involved stayed on scene, and the woman's injuries are considered non-life-threatening.
Also tonight, thousands of flights will be cut in the U.S. because of the government shutdown, and it will impact Canadian travelers. We'll have those details a little later in the newscast. But first, here at home, a live look outside this evening. Much calmer conditions today, but you probably noticed it's getting chillier at night. Definitely time to get the hats, mitts, and warmer coats in order. Lindsay Morrison is here with the current conditions. Lindsay.
And Michelle, it's going to be quite chilly as we make our way into this weekend and for much of next week as well. Now, it was calm today, but we do have another low pressure system moving in for tomorrow. This one is going to be a rainmaker for us, but by the end of the weekend, it's possible parts of the GTA will have seen their first snow. More on that is coming up. Right now, we are seeing a bit of an increase in cloudiness. Winds, much lighter than they were at this time yesterday, still coming out of the west. And temperatures are cool. It's 5 degrees right now in Toronto. It's only 2, though, in Barrie and 0 in Bancroft. We are forecasting an overnight low of 3. But again, some active weather moving in for tomorrow, and we're going to take you through that weekend forecast coming up. For now, though, Nathan, I'll send it over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Money to help businesses build roads and infrastructure with a deficit in the billions.
All part of the province's fall economic statement released today as concerns continue for the labor market in light of U.S. tariffs. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris joins us live tonight with all the details. Siobhan.
Well, most of the commitments in this plan were actually made back in the spring. The finance minister says that's because the government didn't wait to act as tariffs hit, but the opposition wanted to see more today.
U.S. tariffs cast a dark shadow on Queen's Park and the latest fiscal outlook. Recycling the title of the spring budget, the plan to protect Ontario shows a lot of downward trends. The deficit is $1 billion smaller than projected in the spring, but it's down arrows for economic growth, employment, and housing starts. The finance minister says these trying times call for a steady hand.
They demand that we protect our workers and businesses and national industries from uncertainty.
But there are few new investments here for Ontario residents and businesses under strain. There is $100 million more for a fund to help smaller businesses reach new markets. There's an expansion of a manufacturing tax credit. A $5 billion fund announced in the spring has only paid out $100 million to Algoma Steel.
We've been in the process of adjudicating those applications, and we'll be having some announcements real soon.
Not enough for the opposition. They want to know if there are strings attached to that provincial help.
Workers and their families are lying awake at night worrying about layoffs and plant closures. This premier still has no jobs plan.
The minister says the government acted back in the spring.
$30 billion of tariff supports, $9 billion in deferrals, $2 billion of WSIB rebates that are flowing to businesses so they can stay open, they can meet payroll and compete.
This plan makes official promises of $1 billion more for home care and a tax break for first-time homebuyers on some new homes. But with a predicted economic cool down ahead,
the minister continues either to be deluded or to not being transparent when he forecasts a path to balance in 2027-28.
As the government builds new highways and contemplates a tunnel under the 401, it's ending the practice of setting greenhouse gas emission reduction targets.
They don't care about the fact that we're seeing increasing costs and risks associated with unsafe weather events fueled by the climate crisis.
Bethlen Falvey insists they're committed to reducing emissions through things like investing in nuclear energy.
So we're not going to relent, but we're going to focus on outcomes and not targets.
There is what he calls a softening of the target to build 1.5 million homes by 2031.
That target is no longer a hard target, but that we're going to continue to move forward on building as many homes as we can.
The government has just awarded a $9 million contract to do the feasibility study on building that tunnel under Highway 401. The original plan back in the spring was to have that work done by 2027. We don't know if that is still the timeline. Reporting live from Queen's Park, I'm Siobhan Morris. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Siobhan. And still ahead, a chance to further unpack the Ford government's fiscal update. Ontario's Finance Minister Peter Bethlen Falvey talks affordability, jobs and housing, and lost revenues at the LCBO. But first, police arrested 5 demonstrators for allegedly forcing their way into a downtown building yesterday and disrupting a student-led pro-Israel event.
One person was injured when protesters crashed the gathering. CTV's Janice Golding has the details.
You can hear protesters chanting before a glass door is shattered and tensions escalate. This was the scene yesterday at Elman Bay, where the TMU chapter of Students Supporting Israel was hosting an event called Triggered from Combat to Campus. IDF veterans sharing stories of October 7th on a North American university speaking tour.
I was very upset. I was very emotional yesterday because I think the being called the baby killer threw me over the edge.
This student, who didn't want to appear on camera, says insults were hurled at her and other attendees.
They were chanting it at the building, going like baby killer over and over and over again. And then this one girl, she looked at me and she went, "Oh, so you're a baby killer. So you're a baby killer." And she just kept saying that over and over again to me.
Meanwhile, Hillel, Ontario, an organization focusing on Jewish campus life, had this to say about what happened.
We are seeing year over year the number of reports that we're getting from Jewish students all across the province to be increasing at an alarming rate. And we have been calling on university leaders for some time now to take meaningful steps to safeguard the experiences of Jewish students.
Police say when they arrived, officers removed several people who allegedly forced their way into the private event, damaged property, and injured one person who was cut by broken glass. Police also alleging some of the accused also obstructed officers and say one even assaulted an officer during the arrests. Meanwhile, the Legal Support Committee, which says it assists Palestine solidarity protesters, took aim at both police and the university today. Dalia Wad saying their responses underscore a clear pattern of institutional racism by TPS and TMU, both against those protesting the genocide and those platforming the Israeli soldiers who've carried it out on their campuses.
They kicked them out of the building and they were still pushing their way, trying to get into the building. And there was a huge crowd of them by the door.
In a statement today, the university said TMU condemns acts of aggression, intimidation, or violence. The actions that took place on Wednesday are unacceptable and do not reflect the values of our community. Our thoughts are with any students who may have been injured during the incident. 5 women between 21 and 29 years of age were charged with a variety of offenses, including forcible entry and obstruct peace officer. Janice Golding, CTV News.
In Hamilton, police arrested a suspect accused of stealing an urn from a mausoleum. Investigators say a man was at Resurrection Cemetery in Ancaster Sunday to visit the ashes of his infant daughter. Her urn was nowhere to be found, but police say the theft was captured on camera and they were able to recover the urn and other items alleged to be from other grave sites. A 37-year-old man who police say has a history of similar offenses faces charges including break and entering and indignity to human remains.
Toronto police say several community safety indicators are trending in the right direction.
Compared to last year, auto thefts have decreased by over 30%. Break and enters are down more than 12%. Homicides are down almost 54%. And shootings and firearm discharges are down over 43%.
Police say they're mindful of longer-term crime trends and will continue to keep up efforts to address gun violence, reduce response times, and address other challenges. Deputy Chief Rob Johnson also thanked officers for their work keeping crowds safe during the Blue Jays' long playoff games. This comes as Toronto police are releasing detailed data on intimate partner violence for the first time on their open data portal. The figures show the rate of reported incidents in the city has ranged from around 17,000 to 19,000 over the past decades. It also breaks down the number of reports across the city by neighborhood and police division and includes charges of murder, assault, sexual assault, and harassment.
The city and the TTC are rolling out an updated plan to improve safety on the transit system, including an increase in frontline staff and access to social supports.
Delivering a safer TTC means doing the preventive work so tragedies would not happen. It also means more eyes and ears in the transit system and having the right kind of people to answer calls for help. Every Torontonians deserve to get to work, get the kids to school, get home without fear.
The mayor dedicated today's announcement to the family of 16-year-old Gabriel Magalhaes. He was stabbed and killed at Keele Station in early 2023. It was one of several violent incidents, prompting the city to launch a safety push that officials say is ongoing and expanding.
Thanks to a $31 million investment in the 2025 budget, our safety and security teams have more TTC staff, outreach workers, special constables, provincial offense officers, safety ambassadors, and crisis workers. Starting November 15th, 15 Toronto Community Crisis Teams will be available 24/7 on Line 1 platforms in the U, providing dedicated support to riders.
As the TTC launches those new safety initiatives, it says efforts so far have had an effect. Offenses against customers are down 28% since December 2022, and offenses against employees are down 38% since January 2023.
A vote of confidence was held in the House of Commons a short time ago on this week's federal budget, but the result was a foregone conclusion. The vote on a Conservative sub-amendment to the budget has been defeated. The Tories wanted some changes made, but the minority Liberal government will not fall tonight after the NDP said this afternoon it would vote against the motion. The New Democrats say the Conservatives want massive cuts to public spending and call the sub-amendment irresponsible. A Bloc Québécois amendment that also calls for the House to reject the budget will be voted on tomorrow. The NDP says it is still studying that one. Meanwhile, Alberta Conservative MP Matt Généreux is quitting the party's caucus. He has not yet given a reason. And 2 days ago, fellow Conservative Chris D'Entremont crossed the floor to join the Liberals. Some major cities are among dozens south of the border that will see airline capacity reduced, a slowdown in flight traffic that begins tomorrow.
CTV's Heather Wright on the ripple effect that could disrupt Canadian travelers.
It's a standard Thursday at Canada's largest airport, but travelers are bracing for turbulence.
It's really unfortunate.
Transportation officials in the United States plan to slash air traffic by 10% at 40 major airports, including New York, Washington, Chicago, and Los Angeles. Reductions set to begin Friday. The Federal Aviation Administration and U.S. Transportation Department say traffic reduction is necessary to ease pressure on air traffic controllers and security screening agents who have been working without pay during the 36-day U.S. government shutdown.
If I was working, I sure as hell wouldn't want to be working without any pay.
This has worsened staff shortages, caused widespread flight delays and long security lines at American airports. And since many Canadian travelers are bound for U.S. destinations, both passengers and carriers here are expected to feel the pinch.
They're not exempt from this reduction. They will be affected by it. And the question is going to be, what does that mean?
WestJet says so far their operations have not been impacted. We are continuing to monitor the situation and proactively manage our operations to minimize any potential disruptions going forward. While Air Canada says we are monitoring the situation and awaiting more details. Adding, for customers who may be connecting onto U.S. domestic flights operated by our partner United Airlines, we have put in place a goodwill policy to allow them to change or defer their travel with no change fee. Experts warn even domestic flights could be impacted. For example, a flight from Toronto to Vancouver spends about half of its flight in U.S. airspace. Now, carriers could opt to fly through Canadian skies to avoid any disruptions, but that would add another hour to the length of that flight. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
Meanwhile, Canada's Supreme Court dismissed an appeal by a BC ostrich farm to stop a cull order to euthanize its flock.
The decision ends a months-long legal road for the farm that has since sparked a debate over accusations of government overreach. CTV's Judy Trin reports.
You want to know what pain looks like, Canada? The end of a saga that began last December when dozens of birds died on the Universal Ostrich Farm. She's going to lose everything she's ever loved for 35 years. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency found traces of H5N1 in 2 dead birds and ordered the flock to be culled to contain the virus. The farm fought the order to the Supreme Court, which dismissed the case.
We obviously are pleased to see the decision of the Supreme Court. This is a decision that is following the science and evidence.
More than 300 birds will now be euthanized. Virologists say testing the birds is not an option.
There's really no practical way to actually test these birds. We don't know where the birds might be shedding virus if they are indeed still infected. These are 7 to 9 foot tall birds that are very strong, very fast, very dangerous to people.
Under the Health of Animals Act, the CFIA can now move ahead with depopulation and disposal and warns that attempts to obstruct the work of its officers could result in prosecution. Dozens of protesters continue their march.
Today you test our faith like you've never tested our faith before.
Praying for a change of heart. The farm was supported by members of the Trump administration, including Secretary of Health Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Chief of Medicare Dr. Mehmet Oz. An American billionaire also contributed $50,000 to the farm's legal fight and is asking Prime Minister Mark Carney to intervene.
I am asking for sympathy and I'm asking for common sense to prevail.
This culling of poultry or stamping out policy that the CFIA is carrying out is an international standard that numerous nations have signed on to, including the U.S. The aim is to contain outbreaks. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, in the push for green energy, more people are installing solar panels. There are government programs and rebates that can help you buy them. But before you do buy them, there are many factors to consider. I'll have my reports. That's just ahead.
So tomorrow's active weather comes in the form of a clipper, maybe about 5 millimeters of rain, and timing-wise, it looks to arrive in the morning. It will depart quickly. We get a bit of a break Saturday, but then look what could happen on Sunday. There's a couple of different scenarios at play here, but one of them brings us our first snow of the season. We're going to take you through your weekend forecast coming up, and stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
You may have thought about installing solar panels on your home to do your part for the environment and save money on your energy bill.
There are currently government incentives and rebates, but solar panels are still a major investment, and there are many things to consider. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan and Michelle. When it comes to solar panels, there are different systems to choose from. You can also lease them or buy them. They may lower your electricity bill, but it could take a long time to break even, and they could affect your home's resale value and insurance premiums. Osvaldo Guzman of Scarborough had solar panels installed on his home 4 years ago. He says he wanted to do his part to help the environment and lower his energy costs.
I want to go green, and the other save some money. Unfortunately, I didn't get any money back or saved money.
Guzman paid $40,000 for the solar panels and installation, but a year later there was a problem.
My system was broken, and the company didn't, respond.
Guzman says to get the system working again, he had to pay $10,000 for repairs. He says his total monthly savings on his energy bill is $100 a month. If you're thinking of installing solar panels, you could have problems with animals getting under them and snow and ice buildup. Before getting them, you also need to check with your insurance company to make sure you're covered.
But if they found out you had solar panels that did not fit within their eligibility rules, they could make the case that they would not have wrote the policy in the first place to begin with, and that could lead to a denied claim. Could be a very costly mistake.
There may be restrictions on how much power you can generate, and while you may save money on electricity, your insurance premiums could go up.
It's ultimately going to increase the rebuild value of your dwelling, so you will see an increase in premiums on that front as well.
Having solar panels on your home could also affect your home's resale value, as there may be buyers who don't want to deal with them or take over existing agreements. In the event you need a new roof, you may need to pay to remove the panels and reinstall them. They may be a good choice for some, but you need to do your research. Guzman says he wouldn't do it again.
No, never. No. I think the solar panel is for Florida, Miami, the nice weather, where it's sun all day, all year. But here we have maybe 4 months, and that's it.
And if you decide to get solar panels, go over contracts carefully. There can be big differences in what's covered and what's not. There can also be differences in metering policies and how much you'll be paid for the power you generate. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
The snow may not be falling just yet, but the city of Mississauga is thinking ahead.
Today, they released their winter maintenance plan, including new fines for residents who park on city streets during significant snow events. CTV's John Musselman has the details.
The city of Mississauga says it's ready to keep everyone moving this winter. More than 800 pieces of snow removal equipment are ready to go, including these new machines that will help clear snow that can block the end of driveways.
Windrow is that pile of snow at the end of the driveway after the plow clears the street. We'll have another piece of equipment coming afterwards to clear a minimum of a 3-meter wide opening at the bottom of the driveway so residents can get in and out of their driveways easier.
The city of Mississauga approved this added $15 million expenditure to its snow removal budget, which now totals about $52 million annually. The city will also increase its sidewalk clearing capabilities by adding 900 kilometers of city sidewalks.
For safety, to making sure that our residents are able to move safely, regardless of if they're walking, using transit, or driving.
And to make snow clearing more efficient, the city has introduced a new penalty for people who park on city streets when the plows are out. It wants to avoid situations like this, when a plow operator can't get past when vehicles are parked on both sides of the street.
We're out, worst weather conditions possible. Get to a situation like this, you saw the wing plow, we can't get through, adds multiple hours to our operation.
It will be a $150 fine for those who park vehicles on the road when the city declares a winter parking restriction and the plows are out. Residents will be advised on citywide winter restrictions on its website and on social media channels.
To avoid this, we encourage them not to park on the roadway when it snows, and to stay up to date on the winter citywide winter parking restriction through our website.
The city of Mississauga says it will clear priority routes first after any significant snowfall for emergency vehicles and transit. Residential roads will be cleared within 24 to 36 hours after the snow has stopped. John Musselman, CTV News in Mississauga.
All right, to the forecast. We're not getting any snow yet. We are pretty close to the hat and glove weather.
I think, yep, I've definitely been seeing kids wearing it, and I've thought about it yet, but I haven't still switched over the cupboards. Have you? You're probably ahead of the game.
Well, I did have a warmer jacket on today, and then when I got in my vehicle, I thought, this coat is too warm for inside the car. So that's the kind of season that I'm finding we're in. But it's interesting that we're starting to talk about snow now, because the possibility is there for, at the very least, some flakes for us this weekend. The very worst case may be a trace to a couple of centimeters of snow in parts of the GTA. Now, this is specifically for Sunday for us. We're going to get a rain event tomorrow. But earlier today, take a look at this. There were trace amounts of snow in and around the Barrie area. A little lake effect band coming off of Georgian Bay, extending as far south as Alliston, maybe even close to the Newmarket and Bradford areas. Tomorrow, as mentioned, we've got some rain to look forward to. We're also going to see these winds strengthen. So they're not that strong right now, but by tomorrow afternoon, gusting close to about 60 kilometers per hour yet again, but a southwest wind is going to drive up our temperature a little bit. So it is going to be a mild end to the week. Here's the current satellite and radar. We have seen an increase in cloud cover. The next low that swings through is an Alberta Clipper. We call it that because that's where it originates. And generally speaking, these are fast moving. They don't bring a whole lot in the way of precipitation. We're forecasting about 5 millimeters of rain, as mentioned. And the arrival time of that wet weather for us is about mid-morning. By the afternoon, gone is the rain, maybe some drizzle behind it. Might even see some peaks of sun before the sun sets for your Friday night. And then Saturday brings us varying amounts of sun and cloud. At times there could be more cloud than sun. Temperature is going to be around 7 degrees. And then Sunday, things really cool down. We've got another low pressure system that's going to slide through from the U.S. Now, this is where it gets tricky. The track of the low, if it tracks a little further to the north, we're more likely to get rain. If it tracks a little to the south, we tap into some of that cooler air and we could get snow here in the GTA. Of course, it is still a couple of days out. Hopefully, we will have some higher confidence tomorrow as to what Sunday's weather is going to look like. But just want to give you a bit of a heads up on that. It is cool out there right now. It is 4 degrees at Pearson Airport, 3 is our forecast overnight low. Look at Peterborough tonight, -3 degrees, -6 in the Bancroft area. Tomorrow's high, though, double digits in many areas, thanks again to those strengthening southwest winds. Temperature-wise, some communities in the double digits, others are going to hold on to highs around 8, 9 degrees. So it's not the most pleasant day for spending some time outside tomorrow. And then look what comes. As mentioned, colder air as we make our way into the weekend and then the early part of next week. Even if we don't get snowflakes or measurable snow, it is going to feel like our first taste of winter as we make our way through next week. So 2 degrees for the high on Sunday. That's it. Look at the overnight low. -5. Monday, we see the possibility of some flurries, wet flurries, or perhaps some rain showers, and a high of about 2 degrees. There's an early look at Remembrance Day, a chilly day with some cloud cover, and a high of 3. That's the weather for now. Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Also tonight, we go one-on-one with Ontario's finance minister to unpack the important takeaways from the province's economic update and examine how it could impact you.
As we outlined earlier, the provincial government introduced its fall economic statement this afternoon at Queen's Park, a chance to check in on the budget, lay out new measures. And who best to unpack the plans with? Well, the Ontario Finance Minister himself, Minister Peter Bethlenfalvy, joins us now. Minister, thanks for taking the time. With so much uncertainty and affordability being a key issue right now for Ontarians, what do you think is the most meaningful measure that's going to help people right now?
Well, I think there's a bunch of things. First off, having a strong, stable plan. We campaigned on one in February, tabled my big budget in May, and we're continuing to execute that plan, and steady as she goes in an environment with uncertainty around tariffs and the global economy. I think one, if I could pull out one of many things that we're doing, the HST for young families that dream of home ownership. We are waiving our 8%. The feds are matching with their 5%. That's $130,000 back in the pockets of young families as they dream about buying that first home up to $1 million. So it's helping with affordability. It's helping to get more homes built. And it's just one example of the many things that we're doing.
Now, to buy a home, you need a job, and your outlook shows slightly higher unemployment ahead. Your government is being criticized today for not having a jobs plan. Is enough being done to bolster job creation?
Well, I push back on the critics because I don't know where they've been. Because when we tabled my budget back in the spring, we put $30 billion in place to support workers and to support business. That money is flowing. Hey, look, we're in a global environment here where tariffs are impacting the global economy. And what we've done is we're supporting those companies hit hard. The steel industry, we supported Algoma, the auto sector with the Ontario Together Fund. We've added another $100 million on top of the 50. The announcement in Darlington and Durham to build the small modular reactors. Shovels are already in the ground. 18,000 construction workers. So we've got a vision, we've got a plan, and we've been executing that plan.
When you talk about construction, specifically when it comes to building homes in this province, I did note that your government is revising housing starts lower once again. It certainly doesn't look like that 1.5 million new homes by 2031 is happening. If the current approach isn't delivering on your projections, what's changing to make homes a reality?
Well, we're not giving up on our plan to build as many homes, get to that 1.5 million number. But things that we're doing, for example, we've got a $1.2 billion plan to incent municipalities to hit their targets. Pickering, my constituency, exceeded their target by 174%. So they got a check for over $5 million. We've put $4 billion, another $1.6 billion for housing infrastructure. The federal government's getting moving, and of course municipalities, they got to waive development charges. So it's all hands on deck. We're very seized with that, and I'm an optimistic person, and we're going to drive forward building houses.
Can we talk about the LCBO? Revenues are down and projected to drop even further. Is expanding alcohol access in Ontario worth the hit to public revenues, the money that could help fund key programs?
First off, modernization of the alcohol systems has been a roaring success. 6,000 new points of sale, convenience and choice for many people. They love that. Convenience stores, their revenues are way up. And let me tell you, the number that I put in today for the LCBO is exactly the same number I put in May. And of course, next year, it's $1.8 billion this year. Next year, it goes to 2.3 and then grows to 2.4. So, look, consumption is down. We've cut taxes and fees and markup so that more money goes back into consumers' pockets and businesses' pockets. We're extraordinarily pleased with the modernization of the alcohol system.
One more thing. You say you're on a path to balance, but these are uncertain times. What's the biggest risk to that plan? Let's say the tariff situation gets much worse, and it could. Do you foresee a big course correction?
I think the biggest risk if we don't all work together. I really do fundamentally believe when you have a federal government, a provincial government, a municipal government, and our First Nations working together. Let me give you an example of that. Webequie First Nation last week, along with our government, announced a $39 million program to get shovels in the ground to build an all-season road to the Ring of Fire. Critical minerals. You know, I think it's just ourselves. That's the biggest risk. If we don't get our act together, we don't work together, we don't build things faster, and I'm confident that we will do all of the above.
Ontario Finance Minister Peter Bethlenfalvy, thank you so much. Appreciate your time on this busy day.
Always a pleasure, Michelle.
Well, there he is, Prince Harry, continuing his two-day visit to the city with an appearance at a gala tonight. There's a live shot as he walks the stairs and is greeted. This benefits members of Canada's armed forces, their families, and veterans. And that's where we find CTV's Allison Hurst. The timing on this is just perfect, Allison.
It sure is, Nathan. Yes, I am here just beside Corey, our camera operator, as we watch the Duke of Sussex arrive here at the True Patriot Love Tribute Dinner. There I am. He's just arrived, obviously, as you saw just in the last couple of seconds here, and he is here for the dinner, which is to support veterans as well as people who are currently serving in Canada's military. So tonight there's going to be a dinner with about 500 people, all in attendance, all here to say thank you to Canada's military, the families, and veterans. There's also an annual tradition with this dinner where they auction off helmets that have been decorated by veterans. So they've been sent out into the community and they've been painted beautiful colors and landscapes and things and sent back, and those are starting to be auctioned off at $500 each before then, of course, they go up. And there's one tonight that Prince Harry himself contributed to that will be available here as well. Here's a little bit more from Nick Booth, the CEO, on the programs that they fund.
We know that the pressures on our military families are significant, particularly in the world we face now, where there are increasing conflicts and challenges for those in our armed forces. And so we fund military family resource centres, we fund respite for children who live in military families, for example, who often experience significant stress and anxiety having a parent in uniform. And we also fund veteran programs, sometimes to help them recover from the illnesses or injuries they may have picked up in service. So we fund arts, we fund sport. We are the main funder of the Invictus Games and the Team Canada that goes to the Games. And we're thrilled to fund them and their families to be able to go.
And the money raised tonight will go directly to funding all of the programs that they run. And CEO Nick Booth tells us that walking in tonight, they are at $1.7 million, but he's hoping by the end of the night to be at 1.8 or more, and he'll be thrilled with that. This dinner goes until 10 p.m. Reporting live, I'm Allison Hurst. Nathan, back to you.
For a great cause. Thank you, Allison. Well, Prince Harry issued an apology to Canadians today for his fashion choice during Game 4 of the World Series.
Before he went to that gala, it came during a visit to Sunnybrook's Veterans Center earlier today.
I just wanted to give you the opportunity in the next World Series to cheer for Canada's team.
Wasn't a choice.
I understand.
I was under duress.
The Duke and Duchess of Sussex were spotted wearing matching Dodgers hats when the Jays and Dodgers faced off in L.A. Some Canadians questioning why the fifth in line to the throne wouldn't have been actively supporting the Canadian team. And today, the Prince explained to CTV's John Venevalley-Rao about how he ended up wearing that Dodgers blue. Well, we don't have the clip, but we'll get it for you maybe later. To other news now, we have earnings reports from several big Canadian companies today, including Canadian Tire. BNN Bloomberg's Marla Fernandez with that.
The retailer reported lower profit in its third quarter. Canadian Tire blames restructuring and other costs for the drop. The company's renovating stores and reorganizing its business, but sales were up at two other retail businesses it owns, Sport Chek and Mark's. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down a fraction to 70.84. West Texas Intermediate crude is down slightly to 59.43. Western Canadian Select also down over $1 to 48.07. And the TSX dropped another 234 points today to move back under 30,000. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marla Fernandez.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
After the break, what's next for the Blue Jays? Team Brass looks back on the success of the club's World Series run and reveals some of the organization's off-season plans. As we showed you moments ago, Prince Harry's in town at a gala this hour, but earlier he issued an apology to Canadians for appearing to support L.A. during the World Series.
Here's what he said to CTV's Jean Venevelle-Rao about why he ended up wearing that Dodgers cap.
Oh, the LA Dodgers Hatgate. Well, firstly, I would like to apologize to Canada for wearing it. Secondly, I was under duress. There wasn't much choice. I was invited to the LA Dodgers box, or the dugout, by the owner himself, so I was doing what I thought was the polite thing to do. But I'm going to wear this from now on to make sure I don't make any more of those mistakes. But the other piece to this was, as you could probably relate, when you're missing a lot of hair on top and you're sitting under floodlights, you'll take any hat that's available. So, Game 5, Game 6, Game 7, I was Blue Jays throughout. Now that I've admitted that, it's going to be really hard for me to return back to Los Angeles.
Oh, how about that? Does that make things better? Does that ease the pain of the loss? I don't know. It's still fresh for many fans. The Blue Jays top brass spoke to the media today.
And as CTV's Sean Leathong reports, they were both reflecting on the past season and looking ahead to the next one.
Days after the World Series ended, the Rogers Centre sits still. Some packing done for the off-season, with small pieces of confetti remaining on the field from a celebration fans didn't want to see. Not far away, Blue Jays president Mark Shapiro giving his year-end news conference with a different feeling than in years past.
When you think about giving your life to working in sports, you do so for the moments that you think you might be able to lift a community. But you never imagine what it could mean to lift a community coast to coast.
This year's Jays team got within one run of winning the World Series and seemed to captivate not just Toronto but the country. Shapiro saying that it was for reasons beyond wins and losses.
This is a world-class city, an incredible place to play. It's the best ballpark, or one of the best ballparks in all of Major League Baseball. We care deeply about our players. I think that their families and wives have been testament to that over the past week.
While fans may not be ready to let this team go, the business of baseball is moving on. Bench coach Don Mattingly will not return next season after having been with the club for 3 years. Pitcher Shane Bieber will return, which has been welcomed by the club and fans. Pitchers Chris Bassett and Max Scherzer have expressed a desire to return but are free agents. And then there's the question of Bo Bichette, the team confirming they have made a qualifying offer but expect Bichette to test the open market. GM Ross Atkins saying the Blue Jays will be a bidder for Bichette, but there are no guarantees fan favorites will be back.
Constantly be thinking about getting better, and that is one way to think about carrying on what has already occurred and improving upon what was good, but you just have to be open to other ways to doing it.
But within the Blue Jays front office, there's a new bar for success as the comeback kids who almost won it all.
You never go into a planning cycle, which is what Ross is leading our group through right now, in the process of leading our group through, without some understanding that you just can't recreate something identical. You've got to build off of what happened.
And now that season is in the rearview mirror, and work begins on building for 2026. Sean Leathong, CTV News.
Finally tonight, it may be the most famous pull-out couch in the country.
It doesn't look comfy, and starting tomorrow, you can get your photo taken with it. CTV's Jess Smith explains.
Barger on your couch last night?
He was, yeah.
The night before one of the biggest games of his career, Blue Jays outfielder Addison Barger crashed on teammate Davis Schneider's pull-out couch at the Marriott Hotel attached to the Dome.
He was staying with Miles and then stayed with me last time. My girlfriend's here, so like, he was like, "Can I sleep in the bed with you guys?" And I was like, "No, sleep on my couch. Sleep in the pool. It's a pull out, yeah."
We did have a room for him. That's the irony of this whole thing. And he didn't want to sleep alone, before a big game.
After a grand slam in the 6th inning of Game 1 of the World Series, the lore of the pull-out couch lives on. Now on display in the hotel lobby, with fans flocking in to have a seat.
Is that the couch? No.
With the whole momentum, I mean, we're still carrying it with us, and we're talking about a couch. It's unbelievable. It really is. It's a pretty special story.
And as far as how comfortable it is,
It was squeaking all night, like
Tough for the back. Pull-out couches are the most uncomfortable thing imaginable.
It was so funny. I looked over and I just see him just sleeping there and in the middle of the night, and he's a head case, but he's funny.
Well, I think he got a great sleep. I think that's the secret sauce here. He clearly really enjoyed his stay. And again, he looks so relaxed in that picture. It's unbelievable. He's just doing his thing and hit one of the biggest home runs in Blue Jays history the following day.
giving a whole new meaning to the phrase big comfy couch. The couch will be here in the lobby on display until November the 14th. Then the hotel says they're not sure if they're going to keep it here on display, auction it off for charity, or put it back in its original room. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
I don't know, is it comfy?
No way. We would have performed the worst. Anyways, weather-wise, what's going on?
Yeah, so overnight tonight, it's quiet. Our forecast low is about 4 degrees. Here's a look at what you can expect through those overnight hours and into tomorrow morning. Waking up, the rain doesn't really get going until about 9, 10 a.m. Daytime high, 10 degrees. And then there's your weekend forecast with the chance of some snow into Sunday. Michelle and Nathan.
Thanks, Lindsay. That's it for us, but you can join Omar Sechedina at 11 tonight for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Allman with your next local newscast at 11:30.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News, thanks for watching. Have a great night.